election is a responsibility of the National Election Commission, says the Prime Minister in Kandy. What led to the death of the black leopard? Post-mortem report to be submitted to court. Shooting in Gaul injures one. 3 police officers interdicted over shooting in Mortua. Clashes and violent protests continue across the US. Violent protests claimed the lives of 2. Island-wide curfew imposed tomorrow. Sri Lanka cricket officials visit Polonnaruwa following Sports First revelation.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to your weekend edition of Primetime News on TV1. Taking a look at your local news first. President Gotabaya Rajapakse visited the sacred land of Somavati today and called on the chief incumbent of the Somavati Rajamahavihara, Venerable Pahamune Sri Sumangala Thero. During his visit, President Gotabaya Rajapakse called on the chief incumbent of the Somavati Rajamahavihara, Venerable Pahamune Sri Sumangala Thero. President Gotabaya Rajapakse declared open a helipad today that was constructed by the Sri Lanka Air Force. The helipad was constructed upon the request of the chief incumbent of the Somavati Vihara, citing that it would be helpful at times this area experiences flooding. What you just witnessed was footage from the United States, where protests have erupted in at least 30 cities. Violent protests have broken out calling for justice following the death of George Floyd in police custody.
Floyd, a 46-year-old man, died on the 27th of this month after pleading for help as a police officer pressed his knee on Floyd's neck for several minutes while pinning him to the ground. A video of the incident shows Floyd pleading with officers saying, quote, "I can't breathe," end quote, before going motionless with the officer's knee still on his neck. Floyd was declared dead at a nearby hospital soon after. The fired officer who knelt on Floyd's neck for several minutes has been charged with murder and manslaughter. Following his death, protesters have clashed with police in cities across the United States, calling for justice.
We got gunshots. We got gunshots, guys.
A 19-year-old man has been killed after shots were fired into a crowd of protesters in Detroit yesterday. In Oakland, California, one Federal Protective Service officer was killed and another injured in a shooting at the downtown Federal Building during protests in the city. About 50 people have been arrested as protests continued across Minneapolis. Nearly 200 people have been arrested in Houston, Texas after protests last night. A CNN reporter was also arrested while covering the protests in Minneapolis. Omar Jimenez was led away in handcuffs while he was live on air yesterday. His cameraman and producer were also detained for not moving when told. They were later released. US media reported scuffles between Secret Service officers and protesters in front of the White House as demonstrators returned to the area. Minnesota remains the most volatile region, with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fay announcing a mandatory nighttime curfew yesterday, following 3 straight nights of growing protests and violence. However, the protesters defied the curfew, with the city rocked by a wave of violent demonstrations. New York, Atlanta and other regions have also seen violent unrest.
Taking a look at more local news, one person was injured in a shooting that took place near the Mirissa beach in Valigama this morning. The victim has been identified as Sunshine Sudha. The shooting had taken place at around 7:30 a.m. today. Two people who had arrived on a motorcycle had opened fire at the victim, identified as Sunshine Sudha. CCTV cameras captured the manner in which the victim had run to a nearby house to seek refuge. Our correspondent reported that the victim had run into 3 houses in a bid to avoid the shooting. The victim, who had sustained injuries on his hand, is currently receiving treatment at the Maharaja General Hospital. The shooter, who had been riding pillion, had then sped away from the incident on a 3-wheeler and had headed towards the Mirissa junction. Police said that the owner of the 3-wheeler has been arrested. Our correspondent noted that the motorcycle rider, who had attempted to escape, had been captured and attacked by area residents. The suspect had then been handed over to the Valigama police. He is also receiving treatment at the Maharaja General Hospital under police protection. Police suspect that the shooting had taken place as a result of a dispute between 2 underworld groups. 3 police officers who were on duty when a shooting was carried out in a hotel in Soisapura have been suspended from service. The suspension had been imposed upon the instructions of the senior DIG of the Western Province, Deshabandhu Tennakon. On the 19th of May, an unidentified group had attacked a hotel in the Soisapura area in Moratuwa using swords. An unidentified group had fired gunshots at the hospital last morning. Accordingly, 3 police officers who had failed to arrest the suspects had been suspended from their services. Preliminary investigations carried out by the police had found that the police officers had neglected their responsibilities at the time of the shooting. Police spokesperson SP Jalia Sinaratna said that a sergeant and 2 constables attached to the Ratmalana police had been suspended following the inquiry. No injuries or casualties had been reported due to the shooting, which had caused severe damage to the hotel.
කොළ 40 පාඩේ උඩට ගියා. අපි නිදා ගන්න දැනට ගිහිල්ලා මේ අපේ අනිත් යාළුවෝනස් මේ කාඩ් සෙල්ලම් කර කර හිටියේ. මම මේ පොඩ හාන්සිලා හිටියේ. ඊට පස්සේ මම 12:20ට විතර වෙඩි සද්දයක් ඇහුණා එකපාරට. එකපාරක් එකක් වැදුනා. ඊට පස්සේ දඩබඩ ගාලා 4-5ක් වැදුනා. ඊට පස්සේ ආයි තප්පර ගානින් ආයි ඇහුණා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි පල්ලෙහාට එනකොට වෙඩි දීලා එයාලා ගිහිල්ලා.
Various views were expressed regarding the disciplinary action initiated by the United National Party and its deal with the government.
We are not ready to strike deals with anyone. Those who have struck deals have now been exposed. We can get an understanding of the deals based on their internal matters. People do not expect them to join the government. They might be expecting an opportunity to do that. However, remember this, we will not incorporate any corrupt individual into the future government under the administration of Mahinda Rajapakse. That is what will happen. They said that they would arrest the suspects behind the bond scam immediately after coming into power. The government has been unable to do that. These are deals. Ranil Wickremesinghe is practicing Mahinda Rajapakse's deal. Arjuna Mahendran's friend Ranil Wickremesinghe is a friend of Mahinda Rajapakse. Therefore, they are all part of a deal. What is Ranil Wickremesinghe doing now? He is trying to create a victory for the SLPP by dragging out Sajith Premadasa and the others from the party. What are they trying to do? They are trying to join hands with the government. A party stalwart has said that we are ready to join the government if we receive an invitation to do so. We wish to state that the supporters of the United National Party and those against the government will not support this group that has deals with the government. This group, which faces several accusations apart from the bond scam, is trying to escape from being held responsible by joining the Mahinda Rajapakse government. An investigation should be carried out into the deal makers in the UNP. Their disciplinary action will be decided after the election. They cannot go to the village and canvass for votes. The people have rejected them as a result of this.
ඡන්දෙවත් ඉල්ලන්න බැරි වෙනවා මිනිස්සු ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඒ තියෙන අවස්ථාවක් නැති කරලා තියෙනවා මේ කරපු මගුලේ.
A small group of thieves, the UNP and its Sirikota headquarters, have been held hostage. What are they trying to do? One is saying that they would join the government if a request is received. What kind of a joke is this? They are trying to escape from the cases that have been filed against them and carry out their business dealings. I do not want to offend anyone, but we need to understand the reality. We cannot allow a small group to have huge control. They are working according to the government's plan. We should understand this. We can accept that Mahinda Rajapakse has always stepped in to assist Ranil Wickremesinghe. However, Mahinda Rajapakse is a person who lends a ear to those who have worries. In his 50 years in parliament, he has always attempted to find a solution and help people. He does not turn down requests for favors. They are trying to sling mud at him by saying that he has a deal with Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Mahinda Rajapakse mahathaya Ranil Wickremesinghe mahathaya අතර deal තියෙනවා කියලා.
While politicians continue to debate on various matters, Sri Lanka and its farmers continue to struggle with various issues, and the shortage of fertilizer is just one of them.
Farmers in Nochiagama, who continue to cultivate their crops despite shortage of water and the coronavirus pandemic, are now facing problems due to the shortage of fertilizer. Residents in the Ottapua area in Nochiagama, which comes under the Mahavali H zone, earn a living mainly through the cultivation of land-grown crops. They continue to carry out agricultural activities undeterred by problems such as the shortage of water, which had plagued them for several years. These farmers, who saw their crops being destroyed during curfew, recommenced cultivation after pawning their belongings. However, they are now facing a shortage of fertilizer.
This is sponge gourd that was cultivated without fertilizer. We cannot sell them in the market. These vegetables will grow on the ground if there was fertilizer. Instead of granting us fertilizer concessions, we are requesting that fertilizer be sold in the market. The people have been badly hit in all fronts. All these have been destroyed. We request the government to implement a program in order to recommence cultivation.
A group of people staged a protest today to oppose the attack carried out on the Mihintale Pradesh Sabha member Upali Ananda. Now, the protesters claim that the police has failed to arrest those responsible for the attack.
A group of SLPP members had attacked another SLPP member of the Mihintale Pradesh Sabha, Upali Ananda, yesterday. Opposing the attack, a group including the relatives of Upali Ananda staged a protest at the Mihintale town today. Newsfirst correspondent reported the protest continued for about 2 hours, which hampered traffic flow on the A9 route.
The police is asking us to find those responsible for the attack as they have gone into hiding. How can we find them? The Mihintale Pradesh Sabha is looting public funds. They have taken 500,000 rupees from innocent people. When Upali Anand raised this matter at the council, they all attacked him. The council does not give even a cent to build a road or fix a bulb. Nipuna is a culprit. When he was released after 20 years of imprisonment, he attacked the prosecutors. All we ask for is justice.
My husband served in the police for 30 years and then joined politics to serve the general public. I urge the authorities to enforce the law against those who attacked my husband. Please ensure justice is served.
If a woman visits the Mihinthale Pradesh Sabha for some form of help, the council members, including its chairman, would request for sexual favours in return. If a man asks for help, they ask for meat or a rack in return. This is a holy land, the only town which does not have a single shop which sells meat. But today, land is being given to meat shops without the approval of the divisional secretariat.
Subsequently, an officer of the Mihinthale police requested the protesters to leave.
We went to the police last evening to lodge a complaint. The group of Pradesh Sabha members arrived as well. They held discussions inside the office. They could have been arrested at that point. The police could have arrested them last night. We will not leave until the OIC arrives.
Thereafter, the group staged the protests opposite the Mihinthale police.
I state this with much responsibility. I summoned intelligence officers and asked them to look into this matter as well. No arrests have been made so far. This matter will be investigated in an unbiased manner and will be taken to courts. I will do my best to ensure that justice is served.
Following the statement made by the police officer, the protesters dispersed.
Now, what was the reason for the death of the black leopard, which was receiving treatment under the care of wildlife officers? The country is awaiting a detailed explanation behind the death of this magnificent creature, which has won the admiration of many Sri Lankans. Now, against this backdrop, another leopard narrowly escaped the jaws of death in Yatiantota today.
The black leopard, which was rescued by wildlife officers on the 27th of May, had been receiving treatment in Udavalava. However, the rare animal had died at around 10:40 a.m. yesterday, despite being treated in an air-conditioned facility under the eyes of veterinary surgeons. The Faculty of Veterinary Medicine at the Peradeniya University was tasked with the responsibility of carrying out a post-mortem examination on the diseased animal. The post-mortem examination had revealed that the animal had died as a result of severe damage caused to its internal organs, such as its lungs and the respiratory tract. Meanwhile, a leopard had been trapped in a snare behind a house in Yatiantota. Residents said that the leopard had been entangled in a tree after being caught in the trap. Wildlife officers had arrived at the location upon being notified about the trapped leopard and had taken steps to tranquilize the animal. The Director of Health at the Wildlife Department, Taraka Prasad, said that the leopard, which had been rescued safely, had then been released into a protected forest reserve in Yatiantota.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapakse called on the Mahanayaka of the Mawata chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thero in Kandy today.
The Prime Minister first paid homage to the temple of the sacred tooth relic.
After all, an election must be held and is the Elections Commission responsibility to be prepared for it. As soon as the Supreme Court gives its verdict, the Commission will commence preparations. I don't know the reason for that. When we were in the opposition, we wanted to topple the government. We would then contest the election and try to hold the election as soon as possible. It was the ruling party that would try to delay it. But at present, it's the opposite that's taking place. The government is trying to hold the election while the opposition is urging not to. The public understands the reason for this. This matter and related action plan has been discussed. Information relating to the prices set by mill owners and the profits generated by them have been sent to the President. Rice prices were changed after this. The chairman of the Elections Commission requested us not to. The letter is within our possession.
Subsequently, Prime Minister Rajapakse called on the Mahanayaka of the Malbata chapter. Today is the birthday of the Mahanayaka of the Malbata chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuwave Sri Sumangala Thero. Subsequently, the Prime Minister called on the Anunayaka of the Malbata chapter, Venerable Dimbul Kumbure Vimala Dharma Thero.
You have completed 50 years in Parliament. During these 5 decades, you have achieved many things. You put an end to the 3-decade war. And now we are facing another battle, and that is the Corona battle. Together with President Gotabaya, the Tri-Forces and health sector, we have been able to control the situation. However, this must be sustained. The numbers have increased due to imported cases. Prior to this, the number was due to cases reported among Navy personnel.
Subsequently, the Prime Minister called on the Mahanayaka of the Asgiriya Mahavihare, Venerable Varakagoda Sri Jnanaratana Thero, who gave his blessings for the completion of 5 decades in Parliament. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapakse paid homage to the Jai Shri Mahabodhya in Anuradhapura yesterday. Thereafter, the Prime Minister called on Atamasthanaadhipati Venerable Dr. Pallegama Sirinivasa Thero. Subsequently, the Prime Minister paid homage to the Ruwan Valisaya and called on the Chaitya Ramadhikari of the Ruwan Valisaya Venerable Pallegama Hemaratana Thero. Subsequently, Prime Minister Rajapakse visited the Miriswatiya Viharya and called on Chief Incumbent Venerable Ithalavattanavave Jnanatilaka Thero.
Today marks the 76th birthday of the Most Venerable Tibbatuwave Sri Sumangala Thero, the Mahanayaka of the Malbata chapter of the Siam sect.
Most Venerable Tibbatuwave Sri Sumangala Thero was born on the 30th of May 1944. The Most Venerable Thero hails from Sri Siddhartha Buddharakkhita Buddhist clan. The Thero completed his higher education successfully and received his higher ordination at the age of 20 on the 10th of June 1964 under the guidance of then Mahanayaka Thero of the Malbata chapter of the Siam sect at the Sima Malakaya of Malbata Mahavihare. The Thero was appointed to the prestigious position of Anunayaka Thero of the Malbata chapter on the 13th of May 1992. After serving as the Anunayaka of the Malbata chapter for 12 years, Most Venerable Tibbatuwave Sri Sumangala Thero was elevated to the position of Mahanayaka Thero of the Malbata chapter of the Siam sect on the 20th of June 2004. Most Venerable Tibbatuwave Sri Sumangala Thero has received the respect and appreciation of all Mahasangha and is carrying out a yeoman service to our motherland. Former MP Dilu Mamunugama, who arrived at the Malbata Viharya, extended his wishes to the Most Venerable Thero. Meanwhile, a special religious observance to invoke blessings to the Mahanayaka was held at the Shakya Malakaya opposite the head office premises of the Capital Maharaja Organization Limited.
Mahanayaka Mahimpanan Mahanseta Setak Shantak Uda Veva Niduk Nirogi Sampati Uda Veva Chira Jivani Uda Veva Dirga Sampat Uda Veva Suapat Sapavat Saubhagyamat Vasanan Tanagatayak
Leader of the Samagi Jana Balawege, Sajid Premadasa, has requested the public representatives of his faction to refrain from being afraid with regard to the disciplinary inquiry.
There are no provisions under which legal action can be taken against the members or candidates of the Samagi Jana Balawege. Amidst such a situation, I wish to request all United National Party members in provincial councils, urban councils and Pradesh Sabhas not to be deceived by the lies that are being propagated by threats and media statements. Do not be deterred. The United National Party or its leadership cannot sack any of its members for joining the Samagi Jana Balawege. Join hands towards the victory of the Samagi Jana Balawege without fear. If anyone attempts to threaten or take legal action against you, I will protect you at all times and provide you with legal support while standing responsible for all of you. I wish to state that I will commit myself on behalf of everyone.
Arjuna Mahendran, the fugitive former central bank governor wanted by Interpol and Sri Lankan authorities over the infamous treasury bond scam, in a self-authored letter published on a website said he never committed a crime. The bond scam is referred to the largest financial scam to have taken place in independent Sri Lanka, resulting in a loss to the tune of billions in public funds.
More than 5 years ago, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, under Governor Arjuna Mahendran, advertised a bond of 1 billion rupees for 30 years. Perpetual Treasuries Limited, which was owned by his son-in-law Arjuna Aloysius, ended up with the lion's share of the 10 billion rupees which was accepted. 2 court reports found Arjuna Mahendran responsible for the bond scam. The most important investigation, however, was carried out by the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, which led to startling revelations based on a great deal of evidence. In the latest article penned by Mahendran himself, the ex-governor denies he shared price-sensitive information with his son-in-law Arjuna Aloysius and Perpetual Treasuries Limited. But what is the truth? The Commission of Inquiry highlighted Mahendran knowingly acted in an improper and wrongful manner for the collateral purpose of enabling Perpetual Treasuries to obtain a high value of treasury bonds at low bid prices and high rates. It underscored Mahendran was the source from which Perpetual Treasuries Limited obtained inside information or price-sensitive information. The then opposition, who are current members of the government, spoke out against the failure to prosecute Mahendran during their presidential election campaign as well.
දැනට කෙරෙන්නේ අසම්පූර්ණ ක්‍රියාදාමයක් අර්ජුන මහේන්ද්‍රන් නිදැල්ලේ මේ සියලු දෙනා සම්බන්ධයෙන්ම මේ නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු
අර්ජුන මහේන්ද්‍රන් සිංගප්පූරුවෙන් ලංකාවට එවන තුරු අපිට බැඳුම්කර වංචාව පිළිබඳ නඩුව ඉදිරියට යන්න බෑ
ලංකාවට ගෙනීම සඳහා සිංගප්පූරු ආණ්ඩුව සමග දැනුම් දීම් කරලා තියෙනවා
නීතිය ක්‍රියාවට නගනු අර්ජුන මහේන්ද්‍රන් අත්අඩංගුවට ගනු.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry said Mahendran is liable and responsible for the loss caused to the government, which was estimated by experts to be over 12 billion rupees, which could run to the tune of trillions in the long run. It must be stressed again that it was the people's hard-earned money placed in the Employees' Provident Fund, which was tapped into on multiple occasions to make profits through the bond scam. The loss alone to the EPF is more than 8 billion rupees, according to investigations.
We cannot visit another country and make an arrest. The government of the other country must facilitate the legal process for us to make an arrest. This is the issue. The only way to do that is to take up trial in absentia. The mastermind should also be held accountable. Our position is that all of them need to be punished.
Who is the mastermind that the minister speaks of? How is it that after massive, persistent, factual public scrutiny, both the master and his protege roam free when even an ordinary citizen who steals a coconut to feed his family is arrested? Today, Sri Lanka's economy is struggling to cope with a global disaster. Our farmers, our fisherfolk, small-scale businesses, large-scale manufacturers, everyone is struggling to survive. It is in this backdrop that this man shamelessly hides overseas whilst being a wanted criminal and tries to clear his name. If he is so clean, then why doesn't he come down to Sri Lanka and face his crimes? Hiding behind letters on the internet doesn't clear one's name, it only proves one's guilt.
Nitiya kriyawata naganu Arjuna Mahendran attanguwata ganu.
Officials at Sri Lanka Cricket visited the Polonnaru cricket ground today following an expose made by Newsfirst of its dilapidated condition.
While officials continue to uphold their aim of constructing a cricket stadium in Diyagama at a cost of 8 billion rupees, on Thursday we revealed the dilapidated condition of another proposed cricket ground in Polonnaru, in which construction activities have been stalled. Sri Lanka Cricket had allocated 125 million rupees for the construction of the ground in 2017. The total cost for the project was estimated to be 400 million rupees. Following our expose, Sri Lanka Vice President Ravin Vikramaratne had visited the ground today. He also held talks with the construction company which had handed over the task of constructing the ground. During the discussion, he had instructed the company to complete the construction of the ground within 3 months. Construction activities of the ground began in this manner in 2017. However, this was the fate that had befallen the ground when we had filed this report. Following our revelation, we saw that the grass that had grown excessively in the ground had been trimmed off. The chairman of Sri Lanka Cricket had said that the cricketing body had spent 100 million rupees for the ground in which construction activities began in 2017. Against a backdrop in which Sri Lanka cricket officials are attempting to recommence construction activities of the ground, who will bear responsibility for the 100 million rupees that was spent to construct the ground in 2017? We are ready to expose all information pertaining to the ground in the near future. Meanwhile, many factions expressed their views in response to the statement made by co-cabinet spokesperson Minister Bandula Gunawardena on the proposed plan to construct a stadium in Diyagama, Homagama. We wonder whether the present cabinet is suffering with some form of a mental illness. Minister Bandula Gunawardena says this stadium will be constructed even if we have to beg. We don't care if he builds the stadium in his garden, but this is valuable state land. All sportsmen who represented our country internationally are of the view that this decision is futile. They were of the view that we already have enough international cricket stadiums. The funds could be used to develop other sectors of cricket. Even the Prime Minister had agreed, and we believe the government would have taken a proper decision in this regard. It is against such a backdrop that Minister Bandula Gunawardena continues to yearn for this stadium. Some stage theatrics in front of the media to earn a mark for themselves. All of this does not represent the stance of the Sri Lanka Nidahas Podujana Alliance. Some say the stadium will be constructed even if they have to beg. We Sri Lankans do not beg, and we are not cheap to beg to construct a stadium. Our objective is to boost economic growth.
Former Minister Field Marshal Surat Fonseka provided a statement to the Colombo Crimes Division for nearly an hour yesterday. This was in connection to a complaint filed by police spokesperson SP Jalia Sinaratna.
The statement had been recorded in keeping with the complaint filed against him for creating unnecessary fear as a result of the remarks he had made regarding the coronavirus during a media briefing on the 16th of March.
During a media briefing on the 16th of March, I said that 3 people had died due to the coronavirus and that 40 people had been infected. We do not learn about such matters through official reports. We do not receive them. The official statements are with the media. Most of what I learnt came through social media. The people too informed me about this, so I made a remark regarding that. Then a journalist pointed out that the details were unconfirmed. I then said not to publish my remarks and to wait until I reconfirm it. I immediately inquired about it from the army commander. I then told my media secretary to inform all the journalists regarding this. We recorded the phone calls as well. We told them not to publish this news. However, ITN had broadcast this on their night bulletin. I then convened another briefing on the 18th and said that there was a mistake and that we have informed to rectify this error. It is against such a backdrop that the Colombo Crimes Division yesterday informed me to come again today based on the complaints that they had received.
While residents of urban areas such as Colombo spend their lives in comfort, several people in villages continue to suffer, with their problems going unheard and unfelt. We filed this report about villagers from the Hambantota district who spend their lives in fear of wild elephants.
These villagers are lighting up lamps, but not to protect them from the cold weather. They have been left with no alternative but to spend their nights awake by lighting up lamps, hoping that it would chase away the wild elephants that enroach the village. Elephants can be spotted across several areas in the Hambantota Divisional Secretariat, raising questions on whether these lands belong to the wild elephants or humans. A solution has not been found to this problem yet. Wild elephants, which had broken into a house in the Katanwawa village in Hambantota at around 7:15 last night, had destroyed sacks of paddy which had been stored in the house. 2 children and their mother, who were in the house at the time of the incident, had spent their night in fear.
They broke the kitchen first. I then took my children and went towards the room. I then told my eldest child to hide under the bed. I was carrying my younger child. The elephant then dragged out the sacks of paddy and ate them.
The wild elephant had eaten up the paddy, which had been cultivated amidst several hardships. Residents say firearms are no more effective deterrent against wild elephants.
When a wild elephant attempted to attack me recently, I fired light bullets towards its stomach. However, the elephant had paid scant regard to the bullets. This is the situation at present. We spoke to the wildlife office. They said they don't have vehicles to visit the area. When we called them today, they said that the officers have gone to Colombo. The other day, they said they had overlooked 4 divisions and have only 1 vehicle.
The wild elephants have shattered the dreams of these residents.
I am unable to carry out farming at least across 2 acres of land due to wild elephants. On one hand, we have the Mattala airport, and on the other, we have the Suryavawa stadium and the Hambantota port. Earlier, the elephant would run into the forest if we light up a torch, but now there is no forest.
These villagers have only one question in mind, and that is as to when a solution would be found to this problem. Residents of several areas such as Ambogama, Ahatuwawa, Mutiyannagama, Dalupatagama and Diwulkane, which come under the purview of the Galgamua Divisional Secretariat, spend their nights in fear. Elephants destroy the village at the blink of an eye. These residents complain that this single tusker, which roams the nearby areas, is causing a lot of trouble to them. This single tusker, which had entered the village by breaching an electric fence, had attacked a house last night.
අලිවැටවල් කියන එක සාර්ථක නැහැ. සාර්ථක නැහැ කියන්නේ අලිවැට කඩනවා. කියාගන්නේ මනේ අලිවැට කඩනවා. කියන්නේ ඒකට හිතනම කොතනින් හරි කවන්න කැඩුවා.
Elephants destroy bananas, mangoes and coconuts that have been cultivated in this area.
Please resolve this problem. Come to the area and witness this issue. There is no point in installing fences and growing trees. The elephants continue to break in.
Curfew was in effect in the Nuwara district throughout today. The President's Media Division said an island-wide curfew will be imposed tomorrow. In addition, island-wide curfew will be imposed on the 4th and 5th of June. Taking a look at the COVID-19 situation in the country, the total confirmed COVID-19 cases reported from Sri Lanka now stands at 1,566. Total recoveries in Sri Lanka rose to 781. 775 patients are currently under medical care. And that's the wrap of Primetime News. We leave you tonight with the Kala Shuri Vasuki Jagateshwaran dance team of the Natya Kala Mandir Academy performing their rendition of the Nagatimu Sri Lanka song. I'm Zeenat Musafa on behalf of the News First team, and tonight's news interpreter was Tarika Gabriel. Thanks for watching News First. Good night.
Diyasaka Sanka Badaka Adarin Nagitimu Sri Lanka Hitamu Idiriya Maikavan Mahama Nagitimu Sri Lanka Hita Idivana Navalokaya Hamuwe Nagitimu Sri Lanka Nagitimu Sri Lanka Nagitimu Sri Lanka Sidano Venas Minisak Guna Piripun Rata Sri Lanka Mevan Bhumi Urumaya Pagai Rakagamu Sri Lanka Idiriya Gana Ekvi Apasituvo Rakaganata Lanka Guru Vivi Asana Apa Idiriya Atibadaka Chaya Nagitimu Sri Lanka Nagitimu Sri Lanka Mattum kaanada manida pandugal eendidum Sri Lanka Naattamuttinam urimai desathai kaapom irukanna Time for us to hope and pray and heal our motherland. We must unite and march ahead. Arise, Sri Lankans now. Sri Lanka. Rise up, Sri Lanka. Nagitimu Sri Lanka. Api Nagitimu Sri Lanka.
Gammada Nagitimu